Okay, for today's lesson, we are going to be doing an introductory Microsoft Excel lesson called Planet Weights. The objective for today's lesson is to format a spreadsheet, input data, use the multiplication function, and last but not least, create a chart. So the first thing you're going to need to do, which I have already done, is you're going to need to open up Microsoft Excel, which is usually you can see way up here in the upper left hand corner, it's usually a green X is your icon that you're looking for Microsoft Excel. If you're using an older version of Excel, you want to make sure that your standard and formatting toolbars are checked. That will give you all of these options up here that you can see on my screen. You also want to make sure that you have your formula and status boxes checked. Your formula one being the most important. That will give you the formula bar up here so you can tell what cell you are working in. I will use a cell reference quite a bit in this exercise, so if you have that up and you have your formula status checked, that will be very helpful for you. Okay, so we've got a new document, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go up to File, or in my case I've already got this set up here. Click on Save As. Okay, use your window over here to get to your desktop, and we're going to rename this file Planet Weights. Go ahead and type that in and hit Save. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to put in our header and our footer. Okay, with my version, I go here to Insert, and I'm going to go over and click on where it says Header. In the left header box, I'm going to type in my name. In the center box, I am going to type in my hour. Let's just say it's first hour. And in the right-hand box, I'm going to type in today's date. Okay. Next thing I want to do is go down to the footer, and in the center box I'm just going to type in the title of the assignment, which is, again, Planet Weights. Okay, the next step, we are going to start to put in our data headings. I'm going to start in cell A1. You can see I'm in column A, row 1, as referenced up here in the corner. I'm going to change the font size to 14. So I go and change my font size. And I'm going to turn on bold by clicking on the big bold B up here on my formatting bar. Next step, in cell A1, I'm going to type my name. So type in your name, followed by weight on other planets. I'm going to hit the return key twice, go down to cell A3, where I'm going to change the font size to size 10. Turn on the underline, which is a nice little U here with the line under it. And I'm going to click on Align Center, which is this little icon right here. So it's going to move everything we type to the center of the cell that we are working in. In cell A3, I'm going to go ahead and type in planets/moon, and then I'm going to hit the tab key to move over to cell B3. Again, I want to make sure that my font size is the same, so make sure that's size 10. Underline again needs to be on, and once again, center alignment needs to be checked. In cell B3, I'm going to go ahead and type in the word weight. Okay, next thing I want to do, just so that I can get all of my words displayed right here for planets and moon, I'm just going to move my cursor up right in between the columns A and B, so that I have this double-headed arrow here. I'm going to click and drag just a little bit and a little bit more so that I can read my header there. Okay, starting in cell A4, I'm in cell A4. I can tell up here in the cell reference box, I'm going to start typing in the various planets, starting with Earth. Okay, below that, in cell A5, I'm going to type in Mercury, Venus in A6, A7 is going to be the Moon, A8, Mars, and so on. down the line all the way through to Jupiter, all the way through to Pluto, and yes, we're still going to call Pluto a planet, even though I think it was recently decided that it is no longer a planet. We're going to use it for this exercise today. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of these cells from A13 up to A4. You need to make sure that when you click and drag up to highlight them, you need to make sure that you have the white plus sign. Okay, otherwise it's going to do some funny things, could mess you up. And what we want to do then is change the font size from 11 to 12, and we're going to change our font type to Arial. Okay. At this point, we're ready to enter our cell formulas. Before we do that, we need to type in our weight on planet Earth here. So whatever your weight is, and you don't have to use a real number, I'm going to type in 170. I'm not going to tell you whether that's my real weight or not. It doesn't have to be your real weight. Just type in a number. You want to keep your real weight to yourself. That's quite all right. Nobody's going to know the difference here. Alright, now we're ready to enter our formulas. So, formulas are instructions that tell Excel how to perform calculations. Okay, they contain mathematical operators like a plus, minus, multiplication or division signs. They can include values, of course, which are numbers. Cell references, which, as I pointed out, are up here. That tells Excel which cells to use in the formula, and also cell ranges, which can include B5 to maybe B37 or something along those lines. Okay. The important thing to remember about formulas is that they always start with an equals sign. Okay. So we're going to put in our first formula, and it's going to start with an equals right next to Mercury. We're in cell B5. And to start our formula, we're going to take the weight on Earth. So that's going to be B4. B4 times the gravitational pull, which I've given you that factor in your instructions, which for Mercury is 0.73. So we've got equals B4 times 0.73. Go ahead and hit the enter key, and Excel is going to calculate your weight on Mercury for you. So for Venus, we're going to go ahead and put in another new formula. Again, we have to start with an equal sign. It's going to be B4 still, because our weight on Earth is our base for the rest of our weights on these different planets. Go ahead and put in the multiplication symbol for Venus. It's 0.88. And so on and so forth. You just continue going down the line using those factors that I've given you to determine your weight on different planets and the moon. Okay, so in order to conserve time, I skipped ahead and put in the rest of my formulas using the gravity factors that have been provided for you. So once you've got all your weights and all your formulas put in, as I do, you can see my formula up here on the formula bar. The next thing we're going to do is create a chart from our data that we've entered here. So what you want to do is you want to highlight cells A4 to B13. So I'm going to go up here to A4. Make sure I have this white plus sign or cross. Click and drag all the way down over into column B, row 13. Okay, so at this point, all of our data should be highlighted and selected. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to create a chart. So using my version here, I'm going to go and click on Insert, and I want to do a bar chart. So I'm going to click on Bar, and I'm just going to select the most basic one here. Click it, and there you go. It's as simple as that. We've got a nice bar chart here in Excel. So I'm going to drag my chart down here just a little bit below my data so I can see both of them at the same time. I'm going to move my mouse over here to the end of the chart. I'm going to click and drag once I have that double-sided arrow so that it stretches out across the entire page here. Okay, we're not going to use this little box here, this little legend that says Series 1. So you can go ahead and click on that, and then just hit the delete key, and that'll go away for you. Okay, next thing we want to do, really our last key step here, is just to label our chart or our graph. Okay, so for my version, I need to go up and click on Layout. Many older versions, you'd probably be using the toolbox to do this and clicking under Chart Options, but I'm going to have to do it this way, given the version that I'm working with today. So for our chart title, I'm going to click on Chart Title. I want it to appear right above the chart, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then I'm going to start typing in my chart title, which is Mr. Obznik's Plate on Other Planets. Hit enter. There we go. Okay. Now I want to title each one of the each axis here. So our horizontal axis is going to be weight. Type that in. Hit enter. And go back to axis titles. Vertical axis. And that's going to be obviously our planets and the moon. Go ahead and hit enter. And there we go. Just like that, we've accomplished our objectives for the day. We formatted a spreadsheet. We input all of our data. We use the multiplication function and our formulas. And then we created a nice, simple, easy to read, useful chart. So that's it for today. Remember to take your exit quiz on mrobznik.weebly.com before you leave class today.